In this book, the Aldens get next-door neighbors. Apparently no one in town was brave enough to live next to them for the past 5 years. I don't blame the townsfolk for avoiding the Boxcar Children, though. They'll force their friendship on you until Grandfather thinks it's okay to assume total financial control of your life.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
The house next door is a beach house, even though they don't live anywhere near a beach. So get this. A family called Beach moves in, so the Beach family is at the beach house! Ha 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 ha! The Boxcar Children make them a casserole and introduce themselves. The Beaches are mildly friendly, but they don't want to talk. They have 2 boys, Jeffrey and Sammy, who don't play or anything, they just lie in their backyard and think all day. Benny thinks this is dumb, and he makes it his goal in life to find a way to make them crack. What's something all boys like? Tree houses! Benny tells the Beach Boys they need to make a tree house. They instantly get excited and start talking up a storm. Operation Make New Friends? Successful. They have fun coming up with plans and working on the tree house. It turns out that Mr. Beach used to live here when he was a kid. He and his brother Max had a tree house where they had a spyglass, but one day the spyglass disappeared. They got into a fight over what happened to it, and the 2 of them have been estranged ever since. Wow, kinda weird that Mr. Beach is keeping up a 30-year-old grudge against his brother. Our heroes visit Uncle Max, who owns a restaurant. The food is delicious, although Benny is quick to point out there's no way it can compete with Jesse's apple pie. Uncle Max says that a friendly neighbor helped build the treehouse, and the spyglass disappeared the same day the neighbor left town. It's pretty obvious the neighbor is the culprit, but nobody accuses him for some reason. Remember, they've been having this fight for over 30 years. Why hasn't anybody brought up this angle before? They work on the treehouse, and Sammy notices a big knothole in the tree. He reaches inside and finds the missing spyglass. The neighbor must have put it there without telling anyone. Mr. Beach, to his credit, apologizes for being an awful brother. He's reunited with Uncle Max, and they become friends again. The spyglass reveals a hidden stained glass window in the attic. No one ever noticed the window before because it's not visible from the ground. They explore the attic, and they find a secret door behind the wallpaper. It leads to a small room with toys and a rocking horse. With help from Uncle Max and some old newspapers from the local library, our heroes learn the room belonged to Willie Carver. In 1910, he came to the house to visit his grandmother. The grandmother sold the house to a family with 5 kids, and she sealed off the room to protect Willie's things. There's a cookout at the beach house. Grandfather loves Uncle Max's cooking, and as I totally suspected, Grandfather assumes total financial control over their lives. He pays for a renovation of Uncle Max's restaurant. It's renamed The Rocking Horse, and they put Willie's rocking horse on display. Everyone loves it, and the restaurant becomes a great success. But it will probably take another 30 years for Uncle Max to pay off his loans to Grandfather. The end. Post-book follow-up. I thought this book was rather dull, but wow, it has some glowing reviews on the internet. Like, multiple people agree this is the second best book in the series after the original. No way! That was Surprise Island. On rereading, I can see why people like this book. It's more character-driven than story-driven, because most of the story happened decades ago. It was interesting to see the Aldens be surprised by children with different personalities, children who ask for parental permission before doing most things. It was kind of silly that Mr. Beach and Uncle Max fought with each other for decades over a spyglass, but it leads to a touching ending where they talk about the importance of family, and Grandfather remembers when he was estranged from his family members. And to its credit, the book has multiple mysteries. That's always nice. And it breaks the series formula by having the Boxcar Children stay at home. Mrs. McGregor remembers going to Willie's birthday party in 1910 when she was 4 years old. That would make her 63 years old when the book was published. That would make her well over 100 years old today. I'm surprised they didn't change the date in later printings. Mr. McGregor makes a brief appearance in this book. I'm told this is his last appearance in the series, as the reboot gets rid of him completely. The reboot also makes Cousin Joe into Uncle Joe because... Overall, it's a fine book, although it easily could have been condensed to half its current length. I wasn't interested in the beaches myself, and I think there could have been a better explanation for a hidden room that nobody's heard about for decades. If you think it's the second best book in the series, you're wrong. But I'm not going to argue with you about it. I give Boxcar Children number 14, Treehouse Mystery, a 4 out of 10.